Welcome to this Windows Computer and Technology channel, and I did my full review of Windows 11. Now I will actually have my ranting Windows 11 review. This is the other side of Windows 11 that I feel needs to really, in some cases, it's kind of bad and really needs to be fixed or changed. So it all depends, because some of the rants I have will not be necessarily a rant for some. Some of the rants I have are really, really bad and should not be. And, you'll see the other side of the Windows 11 OS. One of the first things, Microsoft Teams that is trying to be pushed through Windows 11. Why? First of all, what they have here is buggy and doesn't work well. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, if you use Windows and you're not using Zoom or anything, you're probably using Skype. And I have a hard time with Microsoft deciding that, no, let's use Teams. No, Teams is for business. Leave that alone for business. And you know what? Most people use Zoom. That's the most popular thing around. And if you use Skype, you want to have Skype, and that's it. So pushing Teams is unnecessary, especially at this level with this app that always crashes. Piece of junk, pretty much. Microsoft pushing this on us is, I think, unacceptable. It shouldn't even be here. You want to have Teams? Well, go and get it. Don't force it on us in some way. Simplified menus. Not always bad. It depends where you are. Some menus are, for example, if you right click on the taskbar, there's only one option now. It's not, 12 different things that you could do, like in Windows 10. It goes to the taskbar settings directly. Some people are ranting a little bit at the fact that it's missing the task manager. I'm not ranting too much on this one. I like the fact that it's just taskbar settings. Because I'm pretty much used to right-clicking on the Start menu to get my taskbar, my task manager. And yeah, if you want to rant a little bit at some of the stuff here, maybe you could rant at the fact that a lot of the old stuff is there. So you can rant at the changes are very subtle. The changes are very, mostly UI based at the surface, but all the old apps, the control panel, stuff like that, you feel like you're going back. In this case, I totally feel like I'm going back to Windows XP with this window, even though it has rounded edges. So, there are some places where it's nice, some places where it's more complicated, some places like the File Explorer, well, you need to get used to it. So if you go and check out, icons and stuff, and you want to work around with something, when you click a file, a lot of the things you want to do are icons now, like the cut, paste, and the copy, or the delete. And I don't know how many people came back to me and says, I don't know how to delete a file anymore. Well, you've got a trash can. It's not worded anymore. So there are things like that you got to get used to. Maybe you'll like it or not. I'm getting used to it now because I use it a lot, but the copy paste and the cut, copy, and paste, I use that every day and dozens of times a day. So I kind of got used to it because I do it all the time. But somebody that just does that like from time to time, once a month, is maybe going to be like, wait a minute, where's that? So kind of a mixed bag. The idea isn't bad necessarily. Is it what we want? It's a different thing. Ranting at some of the things. For example, I can right-click the Microsoft Store in my taskbar. It'll have a Unpin from Taskbar available. But unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that Microsoft's pushing on us, for example, widgets, does not have the ability to be changed or removed by a right-click. Unacceptable. We should have every option here should have a unpin from taskbar. Every option. It shouldn't be something just because we we pinned it or not. So that's one of the things that is kind of weird. Like Teams, for example, is another one that is in the taskbar that you might want to unpin. Well, how does it work? If you want to unpin, for example, widgets, you got to go to the taskbar settings, and you got to remove the sliders. I don't want to have widgets, for example. I don't want to have search and task view and chat. This is, of course, Teams popping up with chat. Why make it a little more complicated by going to settings rather than just having the unpin with the right click? That's anybody's guess. An odd mix of buttons I find here on the right side with the mixing of the different buttons, which, like, you got 3 buttons here, like the battery, the volume, and the Wi-Fi, that bring up this panel. Why not maybe, instead of combining all of that, have a different button? Each one have its different options and so on. These are minor things. I mean, I got used to it once again, and it all depends what you do. But it's there are some of the changes that are nice, but some of the changes feel unnatural, or you're wondering why they combine stuff like that. Of course, the start menu, which is a rant here, because yes, you can put it on the left side and have apps, which will be a list of apps. Problem is that there's full of empty space and you can't do anything about it, which is kind of weird. If you remove the recommended section at the bottom, it doesn't resize the panel. It keeps your panel the same size. If you unpin apps from there, you just have empty space, no resizing or anything. You can't group apps together. On Windows 10, you could use, for example, I have Word and Excel that I use in PowerPoint. Well, in Windows 10, I combined those in one icon that I called Office. So I just go there and all of the apps that I want to use are there. Now, you can't do that here. It's all apps, pinned apps are all separate things. All sorts of little things that are small details, but that can be useful sometimes, and lots of wasted space here on that weird start menu now that is there. Missing, of course, is the Android store, the Amazon store for Android, because there's still not yet the Windows subsystem for Android, and the store is not ready yet. So missing options that they promised back in June that are not there, kind of showing us once again that there's something not yet complete about Windows 11, and there are many instances and places you go where you feel that it's incomplete. The new settings app is nice at some level. There's some things that I like. I like this better than Windows 10, but then again, there's a lot of options that seem more difficult to find and to go through, and where the option that was so easy to find in Windows 10 is now in Windows 11. There's a lot of that going on in that settings app. Even though I still kind of like this better, but I think it still needs to be worked on. There's a lot of little things, and I think it shows a little bit the speed at which they developed Windows 11. I think it's a little fast in release. In June they promised that we would have it by early next year. Then they come up with that October 5th date. Yeah, okay, but that's kind of, 3 months early compared to what you were saying in June. Maybe that 3 months would have been welcome to polish and work a little more on the operating system, because it does seem unfinished at some point. That's kind of weird. Widgets, promise of widgets from third-party companies and so on, and full screen widget page. Right now, it's just Microsoft stuff that I don't really care of, because it's never good, or it's never what I want. So widgets is, if it stays like that, widgets is going to be something I don't want. Search is sometimes weird. It happens that you search for an app, search for something, pops up kind of weirdness, or it doesn't pop up correctly what you're looking at. It's kind of a weird thing sometimes. And in the File Explorer also, sometimes it will not pick up some stuff. It seems to be a little bit broken at times, depending on what you're looking at. That's the ranting part of what I have to say here in Windows 11. I think it's an operating system that's been put online a little too fast. And even though it's stable and seems to be working good, my recommendation here is, you know what? Wait for Windows 11 2.0. That's going to be next year. Next year, Windows 11 is going to be what Windows 11 was supposed to be, according to what they said in June. And that might be the time when you want to install it. Next year at this time, when that new version comes out, I think it's going to be a way better product and much more refined, and it won't feel and finish like it does here in certain aspects and certain things, depending on what you do. So, another rant that a lot of people get is the inability to just, drag and drop on the taskbar and stuff like that. Moving the taskbar around, big problem. You can't move it around nowhere. All of that is weirdness that, not everybody's going to be happy. I like it. I said it. I like it. I like the feel. But it's obviously a work in progress. And obviously, you should all wait. And, you'll see next year with the next version if you decide to go on the Windows 11, train and move ahead. And of course, there's the minimum requirements that are driving everybody crazy. We can rant at that, mostly not because they're minimum requirements and they are kind of, a big change, because, you need something fairly recent to run this. I would say the minimum requirements rant I have goes to the fact that Microsoft has not really explained much about, they talked about security, and I get it with TPM 2.0. That's fine. For the rest, there's no real explanation that is logical or good enough to explain why you stopped at such generation of CPU, for example. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.